Hello and welcome to the first WWE preview show here on YSN. I'm Rocky Brown. With me, Greg Brown. Greg, you were GK. What happened?
Heel turn, got a gimmick change. I'm bad guy now.
So GK is long gone. We got Greg with us tonight. Guys, one of the big four WWE pay-per-views tonight, the Royal Rumble, live on the WWE Network. It's a big one. A lot of people are looking forward to it. Greg, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Limited time till start. For the first matchup, we have Bobby Roode on the pre-show, defending his United States title in an open challenge. Are you thinking anything, or leaning any way about the open challenge acceptor?
For me, off the bat, I gotta think Ziggler, just because he dropped the title and they did the whole tournament. Seems like it'd be a potent time for him to come back and just be like, I win it again, and then just leave. I don't think that will happen. I want it to in my heart of hearts, so that's what I have as my guess. But I could see them going like Baron Corbin or Jinder Mahal, somebody who Rude's rivaled with a little bit already.
I've been thinking about it, and it seems like the WWE is more accepting of TNA lately, and TNA's gimmicks and the past there. So my thinking, I think someone should check James Storm's whereabouts. I think Storm could be the surprise challenger. I do think Rude's going to retain regardless of who the challenger is, though.
We'll see. If it's Ziggler, I think Ziggler wins.
For the next match, we have the Club, Gallows and Anderson, taking on Dawson and Dash Wilder of the Revival. Which way are you going this way?
I'm thinking the Club, but they've got a lot of heat going. They put him back with Balor. It's been a good combination so far. Just had that huge thing on Raw 25, being with DX. They went over the Revival. That's why I could see maybe the Revival winning. But I'm going to stick with my guns. I think the Club's going to win it.
I'm going to have to disagree there. I think it's the Revival's match to win. The Club got the win on Raw. It was a big win. I think they need to get the Revival some momentum here. I think it's their match to win.
They had those back-to-back injuries. It slowed them down because they were the top team in NXT.
Yeah, they were on fire when they came up.
Yeah.
For the next match, I think it's the last pre-show match. We have Kalisto, Lince Dorado, and Grand Metalik taking on TJP, Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. So
I love me some Drew Gulak. I do. I think he's one of the most underrated guys there, especially on the mic. That whole stuff he was doing with Enzo before the release and all the brouhaha that went on there. I think he started getting a lot of steam behind him. And I see his team winning tonight because I think that's where they should point the direction of the Cruiserweights on 205 Live.
I have to agree with you there. This one does have CTI, though. Cruiserweight title implications, considering that, Enzo's gone now. That title is wide open. Tuesday, they're going to make a big announcement. If someone steals the show tonight, they might be right there with, the title hunt.
New general manager on Tuesday. I heard the first rumor was Summer Rae, but they are thinking about not doing that. One, it doesn't make any sense. And two, she's taller than most of the people in the Cruiserweight division. So we'll see what direction they head.
Getting to the main card, we're going to start off with the 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos defending against Gable and Benjamin. For this one, Greg, I think that they've built up Gable and Benjamin as much as they could before giving them the titles. I think it's probably time to hand it off to them and see where they can go with it.
I agree with you 100%. They're my prediction for match of the night. I think this is going to steal the show. Look at what the Usos have done prior to this. Every pay-per-view they're put on, they're just the best match there. They're just that talented, that good. And Chad Gable with that rolling German suplex, that's my favorite move in wrestling right now. And I hope they give him and Benjamin a run.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a good match. I wouldn't be mad if the Usos retained either.
Yeah.
For the next one, Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan defending against Cesaro and Sheamus for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. I think it might be time for Jordan to turn here.
I tell you what, for a guy who was given a storyline to be Kurt Angle's son, And, I don't know if they knew it was going to be instant heat. I think most of the fans knew. Like, that was not the way that he was going to get over. But to turn it into a perfect, like, weasel heel gimmick that he has, I think he's done a great job with it.
Oh yeah, he's got really good timing. That's something I noticed on the last Raw. He knows how to get the heat. I think really they made the right choice in naming him Kurt Angle's son. We'll see how things continue to progress. But as for the match, I think it's definitely. I think I could see a Jordan turn and Cesaro and Sheamus taking back those tag titles.
I have them retaining, but I could also see the Jordan turn to make a weird situation with him kind of shafting Rollins a little bit and then retain and have to do that whole odd couple tag team a little bit more.
We're getting into the championship matches now, Greg. First one up, handicap match for the WWE Championship. Champion AJ Styles defends against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Greg, this one's an interesting one. There's a lot of, this is the WrestleMania storyline. You could see this branching off into several different ways. Perhaps, culminating in the return of Daniel Bryan even. What are you thinking with this match?
I have Styles retaining. I love the whole Sami Zayn heel. I was very skeptical at first when they turned him heel. I had no idea how great of a villain he would be. I would love to see them win to have that whole co-champion thing to be the first time ever and figure out how they'd have that dynamic. But I think for Styles to win, and that goes along with my Rumble prediction. Or my Rumble hopes, rather.
Your Rumble hopes. We have our picks on the bottom, as you can see. You, me, DJ, and Mike Reiner sending our picks to each other, and we got them on display for everyone. And I have, right now, for that match, I have Owens and Zayn winning. I think it would spice up the WrestleMania, the road to WrestleMania a little bit. Which way would they go? Would Zayn and Owens feud at the, a pay-per-view before WrestleMania to see who would be the true champion? I think they've got a lot of different interesting feuds they could go with. Even down to, Chris Jericho perhaps coming back and trying to take the title off of Owens. For AJ Styles, I know that a lot of people think that maybe a title match with Nakamura might be on the way. But that match at WrestleMania, I don't think it needs a title around it for it to be special. So that's why I'm going to go with Owens and Zayn, and we'll see how that storyline shakes out maybe.
I don't think this is a win-win situation for whoever comes out with the title, because you have so many different avenues that you can go down to, especially for these last 2 or 3 months before WrestleMania hits. It's going to be interesting to see.
For the last title match of the night, we've got a triple threat match for the WWE Universal Championship on Raw. Brock Lesnar defending against Braun Strowman and Kane. I think everybody has kind of just felt like, okay, Kane's not winning it, right? Are we in agreement there?
Yeah.
I think it really just comes down to, is the WWE going to pull the trigger on a Braun Strowman championship run before WrestleMania with their hopes seemingly tied to Reigns and Brock Lesnar still?
I have Brock retaining. I think it's the obvious thing. It's time to put it on Braun. It really is. And I get what they're doing with Reigns. I know they want him to be the face. Any reaction's a good reaction as long as the fans care about you. So with Reigns getting booed all the time, there's still money there. But my God, is Braun Strowman just such an interesting character week after week after week.
They have built him up perfectly.
The truest monster they've had in a long time that actually the fans, that resonates everything he says.
I don't think you can take him anywhere else. Unless you have him lose and then win the Rumble. Are we really going to go with the Reigns-Lesnar match? We tried that a few years ago, and the fans, they kind of crapped on it, to be honest.
But, even at that, too, what do you do with Braun at WrestleMania if you don't have him as a champion? Does he go against The Miz for the IC title? Because The Miz deserves a little bit better. He's been, the cornerstone of a heel for that company for a decade. He deserves to have a good Intercontinental title match, not to be a 10-minuter with Braun to put Braun over. I think they both deserve better.
Heck, I think they might have been better off just leaving the belt on Reigns and let Miz maybe win the Rumble. But, they didn't go that route. But, we'll get to the Rumble in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. But, so for my take on this match, I really feel like I picked Braun Strowman. Maybe that's more my heart than my head. I think it's time to give him the belt. I think it's time for a little run for Strowman. And I think he's one of those. If he wins the belt, I think he's one of those champions that should win and keep it past Mania too. They built him up perfectly. They've done a tremendous job, and people love the guy. And I think it's just time. Getting to one of the big ones tonight, the first ever 30-woman Royal Rumble match. Women's championship opportunity on the line. There's several competitors that still have not been named in it. I imagine we're going to see a couple females from the past, some NXT ladies.
Only 18 announced so far. They got 12 spots open.
I think there's one that a lot of us are looking at maybe winning this. One that has come out and said that she's not going to participate in the Rumble, but that's former UFC Women's Champion Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. I mean, she's my pick. She's your pick, I'm pretty sure. If as good a time as any to come to WWE, it's right now for Rousey.
Yeah.
And it'd be a real simple transition, have her win the Rumble, do some mic stuff, maybe have a gimme match on like a SmackDown or a Raw, and then go home at WrestleMania where she fights either against Charlotte or Bliss. I think it's great.
I really think I think it'll be Rousey tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if it was Asuka. I could see either of them winning. My hope would be Bayley, but it seems like the WWE has kind of went away from Bayley, unfortunately, lately. But I mean, it should be a good one. Any surprise entrance that you personally think will show up tonight?
I wish that we still had May and Moolah around, because I think that'd be fantastic as a spot. We don't have that. I could see Michelle McCool and Layla getting in there to do, the LaCool gimmick in the middle of the match. I don't know, man. I think it'd be cool if Beth Phoenix came out. She's doing the commentary for the Mixed Max Challenge. I think it'd be pretty cool if she came in and participated in the Rumble.
One name that kind of popped in, has been in my head, just because she wasn't on the Raw Anniversary show, Lita. Just because I think, the way things are going, maybe they kept her for a surprise, and that's why she wasn't on the show. Moving on to the big one. And first, before we move on to that, we're going to read the up-to-the-minute Royal Rumble odds that have been online. This is the most up-to-the-minute one. We're about 30 minutes before the pre-show as we're filming right now. The current odds, 10-11 odds for Shinsuke Nakamura winning it, 9-4 for Roman Reigns, 4-1 for Daniel Bryan, 4-1 for John Cena, 5-1 for Dolph Ziggler, 6-1 for Balor, 7-1 for Braun Strowman, 10-1 for Seth Rollins, 18-1 for Elias, 20-1 for Baron Corbin, and 1,000-1 odds for Barack Obama. That's true.
You never know. Come out, eliminate somebody at the end of it. That's a good pop. I'd love it.
That's on Patty Power, and it seems to be that's what Forbes.com has been following these past few weeks as we get to the start time of that Royal Rumble. Greg, who do you think's going to win tonight?
I think they're going to give it to Reigns. I really do. I'd hate it. I think that's on my hate category. I think the only person I may hate more than Reigns would be Baron Corbin. So I just don't see any value in him. I know people like him. I just don't get it. I would love to have Shinsuke or Braun win it. I think if Braun's in it, that's his way to get, if he loses the title match, the ultimate redemption is going in and eliminating everybody and being like, well, I'm going to get that title anyways.
I definitely I don't disagree with you. I think that everything's been kind of going towards the way of Roman Reigns winning the Rumble. They take the IC title off him. They announce him, later than most participants. We still got a lot of blank spots there to be filled, probably by legends and some signings. My guess from TNA, honestly, I think there's going to be a few of the guys coming over tonight.
Maybe Bobby Lashley could
Bobby
pop
Lashley's
in.
one I definitely think we'll see Bobby Lashley tonight. I mean, I think it is Reigns. I think Vince had in his mind that, you know, this is the way we're going to go, and we're not going to divert from the plan, no matter what. So I think Reigns will win. It'll be Reigns and Lesnar at WrestleMania.
If he wins, I can't wait to hear the reaction. Because, I mean, he's had, what, top 4 finish every year for the last 5 years? Something like that now?
Well, I mean, even if he doesn't win, I think he's still going to be a top 4 finish again.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to give him the Daniel Bryan treatment where Bryan comes into the Rumble and can't hold on to the ropes and they knock him off early to kind of subdue the rejection from the fans. I don't think they're ever going to do that to Reigns.
No. I mean, we were there for that Rumble when he wasn't even a participant. When Batista won, and we heard the reactions the whole time there with the yes chant. I'd love to see him pop in the Rumble. I would. I don't see it happening, but if it does, I will mark out like a little boy. I'll grab my Daniel Bryan action figure and I'll run around the house.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I put my want. Who I wanted to win was Daniel Bryan. I don't think they're going to clear him. I think he's probably going to end up hitting the Indies here before long. And I think it's the Reigns show tonight, but it should be an exciting match. There's a lot of open spots, like we said. Potentially Lashley coming back. Maybe we get an appearance from a legend or two. Maybe Batista even. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, again, just before we went on air here to record this, they only had 18 participants in the men's, so 12 open spots. So that probably the champion, whoever loses the championship matches, will be in it. If it's Styles loses, Styles will pop in. If it's Lesnar might pop in. You can see it happen in all sorts of directions.
At the very least, it's going to be a fun night from Philadelphia for the WWE. We hope you guys enjoyed this, and you guys watch the Royal Rumble and enjoy that as well. So for Greg Brown, I'm Rocky Brown. Hopefully we do this more. Hopefully we get Mike and DJ and we'll all be in here and we'll get going. So thanks you guys for watching, and we'll see you around.